All right, these teams are off. Alex Alvarez for the Aces and Mario Santaella for the Lions. Alongside, let's see, Emi Guerra is out there with Mario Santaella. And for the Aces, Janine Nicole. Both of these ladies making these devil press look very easy. Nicole moving very fast. There's Guerra on your screen. That's Emi Guerra, your runner-up for 2022 MVP.
Janine Nicole is a rookie this season. This is her first season with the Florida Grid League.
Yeah, that is a new face out there for sure. Took me a moment to recognize her. So far, the Lions have a slight edge over the Aces. Hand is up for the referee for the Lions. And one rep remaining. The Lions have moved on to quadrant number 2. Those devil press, 50 pounds in each hand for Cardona. And for Alvarez. I'm sorry, Velez. Alexander Velez. My apologies.
For going against such a well-seasoned team, it looks like the Orlando Aces have a very comfortable rhythm going into this partner forward.
Yeah, Nicole, the rookie, is moving on those Devil's Press. Maybe we can catch the full screen. There you go. You got both teams. Right now, the burpee over the pole. Eric Cardona, one of the fastest in the game. Knocked out those 6 without issue. Emi Guerra right behind. Alex Velez trying to play catch-up. Nicole waiting patiently in the hash mark. 1 rep remaining for Guerra. The Lions are going to substitute out. And it looks Lavallee. And now the Aces have also made a substitution. Both teams substituting before heading into quadrant number 3. Rodriguez and Lavallee out there for the Lions.
Looks like the Aces are only behind by 2 reps to the Fort Lauderdale Lions right now. It's still anybody's partner forward.
That's right. Let's see who we got. For the Aces, they're out there chipping away. He's actually making good time here. That's number 32, Ryan Damati. Rodriguez for the Lions. 1 rep remaining. He's got it. Damati trying to play catch-up. These ladies are almost neck and neck. Lavallee had a little bit of a trouble with that last rep. Both ladies now, both teams neck and neck, 2 reps apiece. Both gentlemen, the Aces look like they might have gotten, oh, and there was a fault for the Lions. The Aces will come up from behind and take that race. And let's go over to the Lions. They came up with a fault. Communication is the issue. When you're moving super fast like that, you have to communicate. You have to know what is supposed to be happening next. Now, they have a little under a minute, so they're going to get under that cap.
Yeah, definitely. The refs try to cue you as much as possible on what you're doing wrong on the movement, but it's important to try to listen to them so you can move on and fix your mistake.
Absolutely. And the Aces came out pretty much neck and neck. Janine Nicole for the Aces, the rookie, moving very fast on those Devil's Press. You got Eric Cardona and Emi Guerra, 2 very experienced grid players. It all came down to quadrant 3, and then as that last rep of the Devil's Press in quadrant number 4, it was on. You know, they had 2 reps apiece, and then 1 fault on a communication error, and boom, that's it.
Yep.
That's a wrap. So the Aces unofficially take that first race. Lions are able to at least salvage that 1 point for finishing under the cap. We're going to reset the grid, and we will be right back.
what I love about Slate, first of all, it's lactose-free. It has 175 milligrams caffeine, so it's great to take instead of your coffee. And it has 20 grams of protein, no sugar added, so it's great for breakfast. The other one I love is the chocolate milk one. Who doesn't love chocolate milk? You can have it while having 20 grams of protein included at the same time, so it helps you get your protein in during the day, recover from workouts.
In a typical day, I'm usually kind of running around with my head cut off a little bit, and I'm constantly needing just a quick and easy snack that's more than just like a shake or a protein bar that's really not that much protein and stuff like that. So this is just really easy to bring with me, and it keeps me a lot fuller than, say, like a protein shake would. And it's just easy on the go. Like, you can't really bring chicken breast with you. You can, but it's kind of weird. This is a lot more convenient because I could just put it in a little Ziploc bag, take it with me and go and eat it either between coaching or between my sessions or whatever I need to do. Even in the car, that's a big one. When I'm traveling and I'm just like, can't really eat a bowl of something, I just need something that's quick and easy that I can eat with my hands. As a nutrition coach, I'm always looking for easy snacks to recommend to my clients and obviously for myself as well. I'm a little bit more picky on ingredients because I like things that are just simple and clean without a bunch of like added chemicals and crap. So this is perfect. It's literally 2 ingredients, pork, ham, and salt. Like, that's it. Just 2 things.
All right, party people, we are back. And we're just going to recap what's been going on as they are setting up the grid for our mirror. In the previous race, we started with the partner forward. We had devil's press and burpees. Well, sorry. Devil's press and essentially burpees over the pole. So they had a pole that went from 6 inches in quadrant number 1 to 12 to 15 to 18 inches in quadrant number 4. The aces were slightly behind as they came into quadrant number 3, but by the time they were done with the men were done with the devil's press in quadrant number 4, they were even, and ultimately the Lions took a fault on the very last set of the pole facing burpees. So aces take that first race, 2 points to them, 1 point going to the Lions. Lions are currently the undefeated team in the South. Aces looking like one of the top teams in the North. Certainly last year they ended up falling to the Wild in the Northern Championship, and now they're coming back looking stronger. They've had a few player changes and such, so we'll talk more about that as we go. We got about a minute or so before we're going to kick off this mirror. So why don't we go ahead over to the mirror graphics, talk about what's going to happen next. In race number 2, our mirror, the barbell cannot touch the ground. So what that means is these teams have 32 hang squat cleans, okay? At weights in the men's weight, 205 pounds, and the ladies, 140 pounds. Now, they will send out 3 males and 3 females onto the grid at a time. Once that barbell comes off the ground in quadrant number 1, it cannot touch the ground until the reps are completed in quadrant number 4. If for any reason that does happen, all of the players on the team must go back to the start and then back to their barbell to pick up where they left off. This will ultimately cost you the race, right? We've seen it happen in the first matches of the season. We actually saw it happen in several races where teams were in the 3rd and 4th quadrant, they dropped the stuff, and then they lost the race ultimately. So we got 10 seconds. We're about to watch the Lions and Aces do the same thing. All right, so these teams are out onto the floor. So as you can see on your screen with the Aces, this barbell's off the ground. They have hang squat cleans for the ladies, 140 pounds. For the men, 205. On your screen there, Rubio and Mario Santaella working on moving through these squat cleans. Now, both teams are moving into quadrant number 2. But what you have to remember is communication, speed. If you go too fast and there's a bobble of that bar, these are 140-pound barbells. So any misstep or misgrab could cause that barbell to hit the ground. If it does, they will face a penalty and they will have to go to that start and the whole team and then come back into the quadrant to pick up where they left off. Right now, the Aces have a slight edge over the Lions as they headed into quadrant number 3 just before them. Now, hands are in the air. It looks like it's about a 2-rep difference. Once again, yes, the Aces now heading over into quadrant number 4. Lions right behind them. Sellers on the barbell for the Lions. With the Aces, they got Stallings and Hollings going rep for rep. Their hands are in the air. This is going to come down to literally the last second. Is it going to happen? Who's going to take it?
Oh.
Wow, and the Aces.
The Aces win with the Lions just seconds behind.
Just seconds behind. They still had at least a minute on that time cap. Unofficial winners. Aces over the Lions in race number 2.
And the Lions do not look happy considering how well they've been doing all season.
Yeah, they've got a lot of great players on their team. 2 in that are going to actually the CrossFit Games. 2 have qualified for the 2nd or 3rd time for the CrossFit Games. Even the Aces as well. I mean, both teams very strong.
Such strong teams. This is going to be such a good match.
2 of the strongest teams, north-south, in all of the league, I'd say.
Definitely.
So, unofficially, Aces take the 2nd race. If that's the case, they will be leading the Lions 4-2. Just waiting for final confirmation. We'll be right back. Apologies, folks. We are actually all set. We're getting ready for our ringer point. So after the mirror, now we're going to head into the ringer. The ringer home point is decided by the home team, which is the Lions today. Then, so today for the Lions have Eric Cardona coming out and Hollings for the Aces. They're going to go heads up. Today's ringer point is 4 rope climbs. For the men, for Cardona, he will have a 15-foot rope climb. For the ladies, Hollings, she will have a 12-foot rope climb. Both of them 4 reps apiece. They come from the start to the rope as soon as they finish their 4 rope climbs through the finish line. What are you thinking about this as we head into and knowing that Eric Cardona will be running for the Lions?
I think that's super interesting that they're using Eric Cardona as their wild card. As you know, you can only use, as their ringer point racer, you can only use 1 person per ringer point race per season. So after this ringer point, they cannot use Eric Cardona again.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that it's just the matchup. The team that they're going against, they want to put up the best. They want to try to do the best they can.
Definitely.
I'm surprised I haven't seen, well, we'll see what happens after this. If we see a bonus flag from the Lions try to throw off the Aces' momentum a little bit. All right, we're just a few seconds away from these 2 teams firing off their 2 players into this home ringer point. All right, we got about 20 seconds. Do not touch your screen. This one is going to be extremely fast. All right, they're off. Hollings for the ace. And Cardona for the Lions. He's already up. He's already gotten his 2nd rep. Cardona pretty much going legless here. All arms. Hollings going a little bit of a different technique. trying to tie Hollings and Cardona. Wow. Cardona loses that race to Hollings. And the Aces come to celebrate with their player. Cardona in disbelief.
Unbelievable. Cardona went to look at her for 1 second to see where she was, and suddenly she was running to the finish line. He was struggling to catch up.
Yeah, I think worrying about what's going on around you it doesn't help in this race. You have something you need to execute, get out there, get it done.
It's that split second, just run for the finish line, man.
And get it, that's right.
That was really close.
All right, folks, well, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna set up for the Echo races. We'll be right back with you in a few.
With older timers in the past, we constantly found ourselves having to change our programming to fit with what the timer was able to do. We constantly found our coaches having to watch a clock instead of watching their athletes work. My name is Mike Macbeth, owner of Requisite Fitness in Philadelphia. I was first exposed to the Gym Next timer through the Grid League, running various interval lengths of races, asking different time domains required something more than just simply an up counter. Even though I was exposed to it years ago, I didn't adopt it right away. I thought it was one more thing that would make things more complicated. Turns out the Gym Next timer in the app has a really short learning curve. I can't even say that the Gym Next timer has simplified my day. Because of the way we use it, I experience just so much more ease during the week, knowing that the entire week is taken care of. We set up the timers the week before. We sit down, take a look at the programming, and build out the entire week so our coaches have nothing to do besides open up the app, click and go. Running a group fitness model without the Gym Next timer is a non-negotiable.
The Peachy shorts are squat proof. They hold up for burpees. Hands down, they're my favorite things to wear. Squat test, I think we're good to go.
These leggings are to die for. So stretchy, super comfy.
They look cute, they feel good, they don't pinch on the sides. The legs are always loose enough and they don't dig in.
They don't move, which I appreciate because I'm one of the curvier girls.
I like them. They're great.
Love everything about them.
I'm really digging the Peachy.
I've loved wearing Peachy athletics this year.
Looking peachy.
Cook less and live more with rebuilt meals. Fresh, nutritious meals, chef-prepared and perfectly portioned to help you hit your macros. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning. No commitments and no contracts. Rebuilt Meals offers plans to satisfy any lifestyle. We offer gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free options. And the menu changes every week, so you'll never get bored. Let us do the cooking so you can do all the living. Visit rebuiltmeals.com and use promo code RebuiltReady for 50% off your first order.
A lot of people don't go to the doctor because they're afraid the doctor's going to say, stop CrossFitting. We should never be our patient's limiting factor. Our job is to help our patients hit whatever goal they want to with no restrictions. And I think today's healthcare model doesn't allow that because your insurance will limit that. Being in an insurance-based clinic, a lot of times you get restricted on what you can treat, how much of it you can treat. And then half the time people are told, oh, well, it hurts when you do a kipping pull-up, don't do those anymore. Rather than, hey, let's find a way to resolve this so you can go back to doing that. You want to go talk to somebody who does those things and totally understands what you're doing, rather than going to somebody who's never done any of it before and maybe understands biomechanics really well, but if they can actually physically watch you do it, it's going to be really hard for them to fix that problem. So I would say, if you're dealing with any kind of pain in the gym, we're the people to go to.
All right, party people, we are back once again with you, heading in to our Echo race. Now, we just finished the ringer where the Aces took yet another race. So as we head into the Echo, one male and one female out on the grid at a time. One player can be accumulating reps according to the designated number of element repetitions. So what we mean is, for this Echo in quadrant number 1, 12 heavy D-ball over the yokes at 150 pounds. Male or female, doesn't matter, weight stays the same. The only difference for males, that ball will go over a 65-inch yoke. For the ladies, it will go over a 45-inch yoke. Then, quadrant number 2, triple touch, 10 triple touches. That is a toes to bar, to a chest to bar, to a bar muscle up. In quadrant number 3, they will move on to 8 repetitions of toes to ring to back uprise, which is a very difficult movement. And then finally in quadrant number 4, 10 repetitions of a barbell complex. Now this barbell, once again, is the same for males and females, 175 pounds. For the men, it is a clean plus 2 thrusters. For the ladies, it is a clean plus 2 shoulder to overhead. We're about 10 seconds away from sending off this echo.
Stand by. Race.
All right, and Mario Santaella for the Lions is going to go out, and it looks like he's going to handle the 150 all by himself. For the Aces, we've got Damati and Scott for the Aces. Now they're doing a little bit of a different idea. They're going to go back and forth exchanging that ball. Now it looks like Medina has come in for Santaella. So we'll see if this works out for the Lions. Rodriguez now in. So 3 different players for the Lions in quadrant number 1. Maybe this is a good strategy.
What a
we
strategy.
don't know. Yeah.
Here we have Paulé is already working on those toes to bar, double touch, triple touch with...
That's Moran out there next to him.
Paul Moran.
Yep, Paul Moran. So now they're trying to get in sync. The idea is that they can do 1 rep apiece of these triple touches.
And that is called waterfalling.
Right.
If they're able to pull that off.
So there now, Paula Lea's very capable. She's very good. And I apologize, I misrepresented what they're doing. They're actually doing a toe to bar, chest to bar, and then a toe to bar, chest to bar, and bar muscle up. Adding them all together as a full complex. There are 2 reps remaining for the Lions, 4 reps remaining for the Aces. All right, and it looks like the Lions have Cardona on the toes to ring to back uprise. He is one of the top bodyweight specialists in the league. 5 reps remain for Cardona. Over with the Aces. They're trying to finish up their last rep. Another fault for the Aces. No good. Back with Cardona. He's got 1 rep remaining. He is locking that thing out. So there are now 10 reps remaining for the Lions. Chelsea Sellers, one of the strongest ladies in the league. She's doing the power clean and 2 shoulder to overhead at 175 pounds.
We got David Platt from the Orlando Aces still working on those toe to ring back uprises. Taylor Stallings already at the bar waiting for him to finish those reps so that she can start working on those.
Yeah, and it may be too little too late as the Lions have 3 reps remaining, and Medina being one of the strongest guys on the team, we expect him to possibly finish this thing up with, yep, and that is exactly what he will do. 1 rep remaining. The Lions are going to celebrate winning their first race of the match as we head over to Nate Jansen trying to finish up the last 4 reps with Taylor Stallings for the Aces. They still have a little over 1 minute to receive that extra point.
Yeah, it's important at this point just to work on not getting faulted on these reps so that they don't get too gassed out for the coming races.
Absolutely. A little over a minute left. Looks like not a problem. Jansen will walk it in. So they call this the Echo for a reason, because we just saw it and now we're going to see it again. 45 seconds for the players to get back across the grid, and they're going to attack this thing one more time. Now, in my experience, what I find is depending on the strategy that the teams take kind of dictates how it's going to go. It seemed like the Lions had a fabulous plan. They had 3 different guys tagging in and out. Being that quadrant number 1 is right there next to them, they can tag out easily with the substitutions, and it doesn't really affect the timing of the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that's how quick that 45 seconds goes. We are 3 seconds away from seeing this again. And here we go. Same deal. Looks like Santa Ella out for the Lions again, probably going with a similar strategy than before. Jansen and Scott for the Aces, taking their turns, alternating. That ball slipping just a bit. Santa Ella still out there.
Jansen had just worked on that complex on the barbell less than 45 seconds ago. So
Yeah.
he's already feeling the fatigue on these D-ball yoke carries.
Yeah, you can see him huffing and puffing there. Hopefully he'll get a chance to breathe before he's going to head out to the barbell later on. Looking back, let's see, we got hands up. Now the Aces have edged out the Lions in getting into this movement, into quadrant number 2. Fortunately for the Lions, Paul Alea's out there ready to go. Both teams chipping away at their triple touches. Moran for the Lions, and who do we have there for? Alvarez Diaz. That's who we have over there. He's able, now making light work. 5 reps remaining for the Aces, 4 reps remaining for the Lions. So they've made up some time here. Can they catch up?
3 reps left for the Lions, 4 reps left for the Aces.
3 reps remaining for the Lions. Over with the Aces, 4 reps remaining. Alvarez Diaz still out there. He's got 2 reps.
Lions just substituted in Eric Cardona to do those toe to ring back up rises.
Yes, Cardona out on the field now, chipping away. He did these all unbroken the last time we saw this in the Echo, just over 2 minutes ago. So it's likely that he will wrap things up for the Lions on these rings.
Chelsea Sellers already running to the barbell, getting ready to complete those movements.
Chelsea Sellers extremely quick with her barbell movements. That barbell 175 pounds, and she is easily push pressing, power clean and push pressing that overhead.
David Blatt with 2 reps left, trying to make up some time for the Orlando Aces.
Yep, now Blatt sprinting to the start. He's gonna tag out rather. And Scott is out there for the Aces.
With 1 minute 44 seconds to go.
Scott and Damati. Medina, 3 reps remaining. He may or may not wrap things up. Now we got a screen. We got both of them on your screen. Both teams just a few reps apart, but it looks like the Lions will once again take the Echo. Back-to-back Echo races for the Lions. Heading over to the Aces. Let's check them out. And Damati just trying to finish under that cap. 1 rep. He's got it. Aces will take that extra point just for finishing under the cap. So now we've seen the Aces take the first couple of races. They had some good aces and races. We saw them have some good momentum out the gate, but things started to change a little bit now. The Echo race, Lions are showing what they, what they're made of.
Oh yeah, Lions are definitely trying to turn this around. I don't see them going down without a fight.
No, absolutely not. All right, so unofficially, the Aces did not take the Echo races. The Lions do. We're going to get ready to clear the grid and prepare for the ladder. We'll be back in just a few moments.
user. Element's been awesome.
Element.
I've been using Element basically every day. I love it.
I was, back to working out and wanted to make sure that I stayed hydrated because that's so important for your supply.
It was a game changer for me because all through high school and college, I would always cramp. This generally comes from that mineral imbalance. Having Element T, in my training bag keeps me hydrated. It's phenomenal.
It rejuvenates me in the workout. It's what my body craves and it's what it needs after sweating so much. It's definitely helped me get through really long, tough workouts and just give me the energy that I need in order to keep pushing through.
I'm a bodyweight specialist for the Fort Lauderdale Lions. We have all kind of bodyweight movements, rope climbs, bow jumps, pistols, double touches. These shoes are definitely gonna be on my feet during the next matches since the grip on the sole is so good. I feel super safe doing the rope climbs, like having my feet super secure on the sprints, all kind of movements like that.
I'm Dr. Jamie here with the Box Doc, and we are going to talk about the butterfly ring muscle up and how to safely perform this movement. Before you start doing butterfly ring muscle ups, a couple things we should have under our belt as a prerequisite. If you can't string together 5 to 8 regular ring muscle ups, probably shouldn't be starting to perform this movement yet. Also, if we can't do maybe 2 to 3 strict ring muscle ups, this is another thing that we should probably hold off on until we build that prerequisite strength so that you can do this movement safely. We can do the butterfly ring muscle up 2 different ways. You can start from the top of the movement, or you can go back into the dip before you reach out into that extension pattern. But the goal here is creating a length-tension relationship with the rings and your body. So what you don't want to do is come down and see the slack in the ring. You see the slack and you let out the slack. What that's going to do is at the bottom, it's going to kind of jerk you and put a lot of stress through those shoulders. What we want to do, whether you're moving from the top or here, is push those rings away and keep that tension without any slack on those rings so that you can get in that nice tight Superman position before you go back into that next muscle up. If you do this, it will actually make the muscle up easier because you will start swinging in a pattern that's going to basically set you up into that next muscle up. But if you lose that tension on those straps, you're going to start swinging all over the place and you're going to feel really jerky at the bottom.
All right, folks, we're back. Heading into our ladder race between the Lions and the Aces. So for this strength ladder, race number 7, there's a maximum of 10 points per player. Teams can accumulate as many points as possible through successful lifts. And the weight and point value increases moving down the grid as you see on the screen. The point value is equal to the quadrant number, and you get 1 lift attempt per bar. Now, a player can skip any bar, but you must move forward once you skip. If the final ladder score difference is 10 or more, then the losing team will not be awarded that extra point, similar to races before. For this strength ladder, today we have a snatch plus hang snatch complex. For the gentlemen, quadrant number 1, 175 pounds. Quadrant 2, 195, Quadrant 3, 215, and Quadrant 4, 235 pounds. For the ladies, 105, 125, 140, and of course 155 pounds for the ladies in Quadrant 4. And we're off. Taylor Stallings for the Aces out in quadrant number 1. And then
Stephanie Rubio in quadrant number 3.
Yeah, so here's the thing. They chose to skip quadrant 1 and 2. You have 4 minutes to get 10 players through the ladder. Now, they're thinking that they're going to get more weight likely on the back end of this. Here we go with that being said. Taylor Stallings. Now, she's hit every bar all the way through. That is her finishing quadrant number 4. She's the coach and player on the team. Mario Santaella right here. Also, fantastic athlete going into quadrant number 4. Hits the first snatch from the hang. Can he? Oh, he does not. For the Aces, For the aces, that is Hollings, Alex Hollings. Number 25 into quadrant number 4. Chelsea Sellers for the Lions now. She's in quadrant number 3. Here is Hollings. He's able to hang power that at 235 pounds. And of course, Sellers, she essentially hang muscle snatched that thing.
Chelsea Sellers just cleared the ladder for the Fort Lauderdale Lions. She basically hip snatched it.
Now we've got Scott out on there for the aces. And Rodriguez for the Lions. Both of them on your screen currently. Rodriguez in quadrant 3. And Scott, both players heading into quadrant number 4. Rodriguez able to lock it out. Scott also able to lock it out. Both players successful in quadrant number 4. Back over with the Lions. Laura Sanchez. She's in quadrant number 2. That barbell. Oh, and now she's in quadrant number 3. Quadrant 3, 140 pounds for the ladies. She's able to stick that one out. She's opting to skip quadrant number 4. Nate Jansen now on your screen from the Aces. He's one of the strongest players in the league. Jansen, 235-pound hang, squat, snatch, done, not a problem.
It looked like Medina from the Fort Lauderdale Lions had a little bit of difficulty standing it up in the second quadrant. So Coach Jamie Gold told him to just go to the finish line for Emilia Guerrera to go and take her turn on the ladder.
Emi Guerra. Yes, it looks like Medina's on the sideline. We'll get back and tell everybody what happens with him. On our screen, we've got in quadrant number 3. That's Lacey Boyd. And Emi Guerra in quadrant number 4 is able to stand up hers, and Lacey Boyd also able in quadrant number 4. Now Eric Cardona for the Lions in quadrant number 2. Going as quickly as possible.
30 seconds left on the clock for this ladder. Eric Cardona able to stand up the third quadrant.
Cardona's gonna hurry off. That's Lavallee out on the grid. There's about 20 seconds left. She's heading in quadrant number 2 with a barbell at 125 pounds. Over with the Aces. And no good for the Aces in quadrant number 4. There are 5 seconds left. Nicole and Moran. Ooh. And it looks like Moran was able to lock his out
at the very last second.
1. So that might be an extra point that goes to them. We're gonna find out. We'll come back with that score. That's gonna have to be tabulated. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
I was actually starting to make videos towards the end of high school to try to go to college for gymnastics, and I ended up having shoulder surgery. I tore my labrum, and that was it for gymnastics. A friend got me into CrossFit, and then when I heard about Grid, the original one, I did everything I could to try to be part of the league. I use a lot of grips, and these are just my favorite pair that I've ever touched. The way these are just sewn on and with that padding, it's a whole new dimension in terms of grips for CrossFit. And when you lock onto that bar like you're supposed to with these things, they just lock you in. These are probably the only grips I'll use.
Oh, wow.
I was afraid of, like, letting go.
Wow.
So I was, so scared. And, sorry, I can't even breathe. But then one day we were training at Rigging and at the practice, and Storm was like, if we could have one woman that could do this movement, that would change the whole season for us. He didn't say Paula, you know? But I was like, damn, I have to do this. And then there was nothing on the internet. So I asked Andres to send me a video of him doing it, one guy of my team.
Yeah.
So I would look at his video every day, like every day.
Wow.
Slow. And one day I was dreaming, and I just dreamed of myself doing it. I swear, I like picture myself like doing it. I woke up in the morning, I was like, I'm going to Zoom Fighting. And I just went straight, warm up, I just did it.
Oh, wow.
That was crazy.
That's crazy.
That was crazy. So yeah, it's more that I was scared of just letting go. But if you keep your core tight, your body up, it's fine.
All right, folks, we are back. They are still tabulating the ladder, the strength ladder race, and we are getting ready to fire off with our next race, the ringer point. Now, this is the Aces choice. The away team chose the ringer point, which is utility. So on your screen, you can see this is apologies, folks. Let's get that right now for you. We're looking for utility. But I'll go ahead and tell you what they'll be doing. It is 5 double overhead squats. If a gentleman is out there on the grid, it is 50 pounds in each hand. Here you are, folks. So, for this utility, it is a multi-element race. This is very fast. There are 3 elements. It can be males versus females. Now, we have Boyd going out for the Aces, and for the Lions, we have not been made aware of who's going out there, but we'll let you know in just a minute. Let's go over these movements. So we have double dumbbell overhead squats. It's 5 repetitions, 50 pounds in each hand for the gentlemen and 35 for the ladies. Then 2 rope climbs, 15 feet in height for the men and 12 feet for the ladies. And then finishing this ringer point with single kettlebell squat snatches. 5 single kettlebell squat snatches, 70 pounds for men and 53 pounds for the ladies. So, looking ahead, we have the Lions currently trailing the Aces by 1 point, still a very tight match.
And I believe we're still waiting on the ladder results.
Yes, we're still waiting on the ladder. Once again, if the score is a differential of more than 10 points for the ladder, then there will be no points that go to the losers of that ladder match. So we'll find that out shortly. As far as this ringer point, for the Aces, Boyd. For the Lions, Pybus coming out. So we're gonna catch them, let's see. You're taking a look at the grid right now. As you can see on your screen, we are at the USA Fit Games 2023 here in Orange County at the, in Orlando, Florida at the Orange County Convention Center. And we've got Ryan Pybus and Lacey Boyd about to go head-to-head. Now, this is a little different. If you were with us for the first match of the day, the last couple of ringer points that you saw had individual movements. Just one movement, do what you can, and get out. This one, a little bit more detailed. You've got 3 separate elements that you have to go through, so anything can happen. You might be leading coming out of those double dumbbell overhead squats, but when you get to the rope climb, there might be issues, or vice versa, whatever it might be. So
yeah, definitely. Ringer points go by so fast, and a lot of the times it comes down to how you approach the movements that are going to happen. If you're running too fast towards rings, you can be swinging too much. You can't really lock out at the top with your wrist, with your shoulders over your wrist to get that that rep in.
Yeah, exactly. Form, standards, professional sport. That's what we're talking about here. So they go out, you know, you got to be fast, but at the same time, you got to come correct.
Yep.
We've got judges, referees, head referee, and they're ready to go. So we're ready to rock. We're going to kick things off with this ringer point.
I met Flash at one of the matches. He wanted to do a superhero shoot, which felt a little weird because I was like, I don't feel like a superhero.
Flash did a video for me also for Grid. He wanted me to be the Punisher as a character.
I did Power Girl. That just made me look so badass.
That's actually a really cool character because like the Punisher was military and had that like darkness essence to him. It just brought out my actual like personality, like wanting to be like shown as you don't want to mess with her type thing. I already have a hard time like expressing myself. He portrayed on like how I want to be looked at.
A lot of times girls that are a bigger athlete like me, we've been called manly, we've been bullied, we've been seen as this different type of female, and it allowed me to feel very feminine and show off that like you can still be beautiful but still be like a badass at your sport. And I really truly believe that God gave me a platform to show women that, you know, you can be this. I just try to be what I needed when I was younger.
That's me right there.
Alrighty, folks, sorry about that. We had a quick review, checking something for our ladder tabulations. We're going to get those scores to you shortly, and we are about 30 seconds away from that ringer point, the utility ringer point. This was chosen by the Aces, the away team. Once again, Ryan Pybus, Lacey Boyd, getting ready to fire things off.
Utility players with 20 seconds to go.
We got about 15 seconds.
10 seconds, referees ready. Players ready.
Lacey Boyd on your right. Ryan Pybus on your left. Both players out on the grid. Lacey Boyd, 2 reps remaining. She finished hers. Both players climbing that rope. Pybus touches his mark first. Both neck and neck. Pybus with a little bit of a fumble there. Lacey Boyd, she's hit her mark. She's heading over to the kettlebell in quadrant number 3. Her kettlebell, 53 pounds, 5 reps. For Pybus, 70 pounds, also 5 reps. She's got him by about 1 rep.
Oh, he made up that rep.
A fault was given to Lacey Boyd, which opened up the window for Ryan Pybus. The team comes to celebrate with the Lions as they take a ringer point. Now we're going to get ready for our Jack and Jill match. Excuse me, our Jack and Jill race of the match. We'll come back in just a few minutes. We'll have that score from our ladder race.
We are Relax and Get Results. Josh and Daniel here. We've been with the Grid League since about 5 years now, and we love being part of the team, taking care of the team. Their well-being means a lot to us, so we're always in the sideline, making sure they're okay. You know, we specialize in everything that has to do with sports, massage, sports recovery, stretching. So what we do is basically help them maximize their potential and help them prevent injury as well.
The recovery aspect, we speed up the recovery time, help athletes regain range of motion that they've lost due to injury or overuse, overtraining. Pretty much just keeping people as healthy as possible is what our goal is.
Yeah, especially with Grid, you know, it's very intense and it's very fast. So when we improve their mobility, their flexibility, they're obviously going to perform at a higher level. So with them, that's mainly our main concern, is to get them flexible so they're faster at everything they do.
Unlike American football or baseball, where positions are very clearly defined with rules specific to them, Grid League positions are more general. Think of it as a spectrum with a 4-foot gymnast on one end and a 400-pound strongman on the other, with every possible size, shape, and skill set focus filling in the middle. Roles on the grid have a lot of crossover from position to position, and there are many possible combinations that will yield a great team. Grid League has 3 primary player positions or roles on the team. Utility players generally have a wide range of abilities and end up with a diverse set of assignments on the grid. Utility players, although often assigned more total work than specialists, will still focus on their best movements as their means to contribute to the team. The strength specialist role often involves heavier assignments and, depending on the player's background, may be even more focused to individual types of strength movement, such as Olympic weightlifting or strongmen. Most of the super high-skill movements like backward roll to support in deficit, freestanding handstand push-ups are performed by bodyweight specialists. That said, there are several bodyweight specialists that mainly focus on more basic movements, but for big sets and fast cycle rates. Many are gymnasts as well, but even some of the best do not have gymnastics backgrounds, such as former MVP Paul Lays. Learn more about the sport of grid lead at fgl.com/learn.
Alrighty, folks, we're coming back to you live from the Orange County Convention Center here at the USA Fit Games 2023 Florida Grid League, heading in to race number 7, Jack and Jill. But we're going to talk about what just happened with the ladder. Excuse me, race number 8 is Jack and Jill. Let's go over that real quick. Jack and Jill, players may substitute at any time as far as gender. One male, one female out on the grid at a time, and all they have is 3.5 minutes to chip away at what you see on your screen. In quadrant number 2, there are 15 ring forward rolls, then 10 deck to pull over, essentially a burpee to a pull over the rig of the bar. And then finishing in quadrant 4 with a deck to backflip. As you can see on the right side of your screen, the element values assigned based on difficulty. We're about 15 seconds away from sending out our Jack and Jill for the Aces and the Lions.
Referees ready, players ready.
David Blatt for the Aces. I see Moran and Leyes for the Lions.
15 ring pullovers. You're gonna see a player pop.
All right, so
They gotta perform a forward roll and pop.
David Blatt and Paula Leyes both going for that forward roll to support. Janet Durant out there waiting for her opportunity. Moran, there we go. We got both teams on your screen completing their ring to forward roll to support. My apologies. David Blatt is going to go out and substitute. Janet Durant able to finish up. It looks as though she's going to wrap up those reps. Yes, that is good. And Alvarez Diaz now with the deck to pull over. Paula Leyes also finishing for the Lions. Cardona, one of the top bodyweight specialists, as we said, in the league, playing catch-up with the rookie Alvarez Diaz for the Aces. Both players moving very quickly through these 10 repetitions. Now it looks like Durant waiting to start her backflips. And we've got Katie Canning and Eric Cardona trying to take their turns on these backward or deck to support. Okay, so over with the Aces, Janet Durant. Oh, let's see, the Aces are able to sneak this one out. Cardona and Canning will cross the finish line under the cats. They still had about a minute left. I'm actually quite surprised because they do have some of the top bodyweight specialists in the league. David Blatt, also fantastic. Alvarez Diaz, moving super speedy when it came to those deck to pull over on the rig.
Oh yeah, definitely two very strong teams. I think the Lions are just as surprised that they're struggling so much against the Aces as well.
Yeah, I think they were just having a little bit of issue with the first movement, the ring forward rolls.
Yeah, definitely. That's what it looked like.
But in any event, let's talk about what just happened before we go to commercial. With the ladder, we did get our results back, 57-57. Both teams scoring 57 points, so they will both be awarded 2 points apiece, leaving our score currently at 11-11. We'll be right back.
My name is Dr. Michael Thomas, and I have a private practice called Acme Spine and Orthopedics. The best part of my job is treating patients that have significant amount of pain due to spinal problems and treating them surgically and having them come back to my office and feeling much better. I think the reason why patients come to me is that I've done a spinal fellowship at the University of Miami, and that gave me an edge to be able to perform minimally invasive surgery appropriately. Also, our practice has an extremity orthopedic surgeon, so if someone comes in with a shoulder injury or a knee injury, elbow, wrist, whatever, we can treat that as well. The best way to contact us is by phone. Our office is always available, and we look forward to getting you better.
Grid is like super fast fitness, and it's really unique because it's guys and girls on the same team. And unlike other sports, you don't have to be good at everything. You get to showcase your skills of what you're really good at. A lot of people confuse CrossFit and Grid and think they're the same thing, when really they're very different. Some of the movements are similar, and they might look like, oh, you're doing the same exercises, why isn't this CrossFit? But with CrossFit, you have to be good at everything. If you want to be competitive, you can't have any holes in your game. You have to be really strong, you have to be really fast, you have to be really good at gymnastics and have a really good engine. But with Grid, it's totally opposite. You can literally just be really strong. You can suck at burpees and a 20-minute metcon, that doesn't matter. Your only job at Grid is to be really strong and move a barbell really fast. Or to be really gymnasty and be a ninja on the rig or on rings or whatever. Or just be someone like me who really likes burpees and likes to do a lot of that stuff. You know, like, I'll never be the strongest or the gymnastiest, but I have a decent engine and I can move really quick. So for me, it's good because I get to do the stuff that nobody likes to do, like the box jumps and the burpees and that kind of stuff, whereas my partners will save me, and they're going to do the back rolls to the support and the crazy stuff on the rings that I have no business doing. But together, that's how we win matches, because we all kind of come together and do the stuff that we're good at. I love Grid because, especially after college of being a collegiate athlete, I get to be a team athlete again. But the really cool thing about Grid is I get to compete against guys and beat guys at stuff. And they see us as equals. There's been times where guys have to go against girls and they're like, oh crap, I don't want to go against her. She's really good at this movement or whatever. And that's, you don't see that anywhere else. It's usually a soccer team has all girls or all guys, and it's like girls are really good at one thing in this sport, guys are really good at one thing in that sport, but it doesn't matter what you are. You're a human playing on this team, and you have a specific role that's important. And that's really cool to see, especially for women who think like they can't play sports with guys or whatever, and they see us on the Grid like, wait a minute, they're sharing a barbell with a guy, like they're going against a guy, and they're keeping up or beating that guy. Like, that's just so cool and really empowering that we just get to feel as important is our counterparts, and it's just we're all needed to be on a team in order for the team to win.
I didn't think they were going to be good because they were frozen, but they're amazing.
Definitely can't find any healthy foods at an event, so this is awesome.
My favorite meal is to eat. Yeah, well.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We were just wrapping up the Jack and Jill where the Aces took the Lions to, well, the Aces took the Lions in that Jack and Jill. So we are currently 13-12, Aces leading the Lions as we prepare for the female triad. Looking at the triad, this is a gender-specific race. So we're gonna kick things off with the ladies in race number 9 for the triad. This is a female triad. At each station, you must complete each station before moving on to the next. Now, any player can work at any station, but you cannot move on to the next element until it is completed. For the ladies, in quadrant number 1, they will have double kettlebell overhead lunges from quadrant 1 through quadrant 2 for 40 feet at 35 pounds a hand. In quadrant number 2, they will have 10-inch deficit handstand push-ups, 6 reps apiece. After that, quadrant 3, double kettlebell ground to overhead, 12 repetitions, 35 pounds per hand. And then moving on to med ball bar muscle ups. That is with a 6-pound med ball between their legs. For the ladies, 4 repetitions. And then finishing with 16 reps of the double kettlebell hang clusters. Now we're about 20 seconds away from sending off these ladies. Once they go through this entire race, then we're gonna watch the gentlemen. On your screen, Emi Guerra, Laura Sanchez, and
Lavalley.
Lavalley, thank you, Austin Lavalley. On your other screen, we've got Lacey Boyd, Taylor Stallings, and Scott, Olivia Scott, out there for the Aces. These ladies all racing to the quadrant 3 line, which is 40-foot walk. Now they will run back. Now it looks like Emi Guerra has tagged in Paula Leyes for the Lions. The Aces have not yet begun in 2 of their 3 stations. Maybe that was a strategy for the Aces. Maybe the players that they're bringing out can bring them some speed later on in this race. For now, we're looking at the Lions repping away at those ground to overhead. Those kettlebells. Those kettlebells are 35 pounds for the ladies.
We have Canning moving those kettlebells into the 4th quadrant already.
And let's go over to the Aces and see how they're doing for our viewers at home. All right, it looks like there's a handful of substitutions going on. Both teams. All right, right now we're looking at the Lions chipping away at these med ball bar muscle ups, a 6-pound med ball. Aces right behind them, just a few reps. One ball has gone flying for the Aces. You must keep that ball between your legs for the entire repetition.
If you look into the Aces side, it looks like the people in the 3rd quadrant didn't move their kettlebells into the 4th quadrant for the people that need to complete the double kettlebell hang clusters. I don't know if that was on purpose or if they were to do it themselves, but that is not where they're supposed to be for those. And there they go moving it.
Yeah, you are right. And now both teams have started relatively at the same time. They did have to grab and go, as you mentioned, from quadrant 3 into quadrant number 4. So now we're going to be watching these teams rep out hang
double kettlebell hang clusters.
Thank you. Double kettlebell, I couldn't get the words out. Double kettlebell hang clusters with 35 pounds in each hand. What we're watching for now is for the judges to put their hands up in the air.
And it
the
looks
referees.
Like we got referees with hands up on both sides.
Looks like they're separated by maybe a rep or 2. We're going to see who sprints to that finish line. We'll keep both teams on your screen. Let's see what happens here.
Laura Sanchez finishing up for Canning for the Lions.
And the Aces have taken that race. There are still 3 reps remaining. They still have about 30 seconds. Austin Lavalley trying to finish up. She's got 1 rep left. And she will definitely get in under that cap. Unofficially, score 15 Aces, 13 Lions. We'll be back in just a moment for the male triad.
Once I got back to the States, during hard chemotherapy rounds, I was back in remission, but now this time I needed to have a bone marrow transplant. After another round of chemotherapy, I then endured a fungal infection that was going to my brain. Very close call. Had 5 surgeries in 6 days, but I battled through, fought through, and survived. Made it to my bone marrow transplant. Took about 11 months for my blood to start reproducing again. You know, through that time, I still continued to train. I continued striving to just be the best I can be and do the best that my body could do. So I preach health and fitness because it saved my life, not once but twice. I will continue to tell my story on why I eat the way I eat every day. You know, I'm eating clean. Carnivore snacks, you know, it's just legit salt and your protein, and that's it. They all taste great. I look forward to snacking on them every day. Being a busy dad, I get to snack and not forget to eat while I'm taking care of my 14-month-old son. So carnivore snacks is great. I definitely highly recommend it.
I'm Dr. Jamie here with the Box Stop, and we are going to talk a little bit about staying safe with your kipping movements while doing movements like the double touch and the triple touch. So first off, if we aren't capable of doing toes to bar, chest to bar, and bar muscle ups, we should work on those things separately before you start getting into putting them together. But this is kind of a length tensionship relationship as well. And what we're trying to do here is maintain our body in good tension as we start moving through these patterns. If you do a toes to bar and you are too far underneath the rig, you're going to lose all your tension when you try to pop up into that pull-up position. So one of the things that you'll see is people will actually come back pretty far on the toes to bar so that they can drive through and get their chest to the bar for that next part of the movement. The triple touch is no different, except for you, instead of going back into the toes to bar, you're going to go now into that bar muscle up. So most of the faults that we see with a double touch and triple touch can also kind of mimic the just regular kipping pattern, whether you're doing butterfly pull-ups or butterfly chest to bar in regards to the front part of your shoulder. So if we're missing that range of motion going through, we're gonna really struggle with that kip. If we're having pain as we pull and we fall through, you're gonna struggle when we start to do that butterfly. So what we're gonna try to do is make sure that we have available range of motion, but also the strength that we need to be able to move into those patterns.
30 seconds.
All right, folks, we are back with it, and we're about to kick off the male triad. We just watched the ladies go, now for the males.
20 seconds.
Triad, just like we said, gender specific. Each station must be completed before moving on to the next.
Ready.
All right. And they're off. Medina. Well, let's see. We got the Aces and the Lions both neck and neck as they're doing these overhead lunges. Those are 53-pound kettlebells in each hand. Now, it looks like the Lions wanted to do a few substitutions. The Aces decided to hop right in. All three players going for those deficit handstand push-ups. 10-inch deficit handstand push-ups, 6 reps. So the Lions have moved on. They are just slightly ahead, maybe a rep or two, but not in all 3 stations. You cannot move on to another station until all 3 are completed. Now, the gentlemen who are on the grid at this time can help the man next to him, and they can tag in and out anytime they want, but they cannot move on to the med ball bar muscle ups until they have finished these ground to overhead.
That's right, Joe. The referees are counting reps on the objects or in the stations, not on specific people.
That is correct. And now we're looking over. Let's get the Aces on the screen for our viewers. There it is. And they are chipping away. They have a slight edge over the Lions in these bar muscle ups. Back with the Lions, Mario Santaella, Eric Cardona, and it looks like Ryan Pybus all on the bar trying to catch up. Now we've got, oh, I cannot, Nate Jansen, there he is, trying to, and, no, we got it, Nate Jansen, Lasso, and Damati. Now we're waiting for some hands to come up from our referees. It looks as if the Aces are going to take this unless the Lions have got some serious speed. Hands have gone up for our referee over for the Aces. 3 reps remaining.
6 reps.
making sure, you see the head referee making sure that you get full lockout of those elbows from Mario Santaella. Nate Jansen finishing up. He's got 1 rep remaining for the Aces. It's good. And the Aces are going to cross the finish line before the Lions. Still a few seconds left, 40 seconds left. So these Lions can get this extra point because it is going to matter in the final race that's coming up, our sprint relay. And this is Mario Santaella. He's been in the grid for several years, also a CrossFit Games competitor. And that will do it for the male triad. We have 1 race remaining and a very tight match. So we'll be right back with the sprint relay.
Event structure. Match. A grid league event featuring 2 teams competing in a series of races. Match winners are determined by a tally of points accumulated according to race outcomes. Grid League Team. A full team consists of 18 players, 9 male and 9 female. Players perform in different roles on the teams and are strategically placed into races by the head coach. Race. A series of elements that must be performed in order to finish the race. The exception is the ladder race, in which points are tallied according to successful lifts. Race outcomes yield point values that are tallied to determine the match winner. Match format. The movement or element variation of the races from match to match. Movement. An athletic movement used in races that is defined by a set of standards. Elements. A specific segment of a race involving one movement at a consistent parameter such as weight or height. Element value. A value applied to a race element indicating the general significance of that element to the race outcome overall. Field of play. Grid. The field of play. Lane. One side of the grid. Each team performs in a single lane. Quadrant. One of 4 equal sections of each lane. Hash mark. Line segments along the outside of each quadrant, dividing it into 4 sections. Hash box. The space between 2 hash marks or a hash mark and quadrant line. Rig. A central structure on which several movements are performed. Start or finish zones. Area adjacent to the respective line outside of the field of play. Grid play. Substitution. In race switch of players on the grid. Tag. Contact between players signifying a substitution. Fault. A repetition deemed not to meet the specified standards and does not count. Bonus flag. A flag thrown by a head coach designating the subsequent race to be worth an extra point. Grid lock. The result of a point tally that is tied at the end of regulation play. A designated version of the final race of the match, sprint relay, is run to determine the match winner. Roster terms. Eligible player. A player designated by the team to be able to perform in a given match. Active player. A player designated by the team to be able to perform in a given race. Failure to properly designate an active player results in a penalty. Starting roster. 5 players of each gender active to perform initially in a match. Alternate roster. Up to 3 players of each gender that can permanently replace a starter or otherwise active player in a match. Wild card. 1 designated player that is the only alternate that does not permanently replace a starter or otherwise active player. The player they replace may re-enter the match. The wild card is only eligible for 2 races. Learn more about the sport of Grid League at thefgl.com/learn.
Alrighty, folks, we are back live at USA Fit Games here in Orange County Convention Center. Match number 2, week number 2, interconference matchups between the Fort Lauderdale Lions and the Orlando Aces. Currently, the Aces are leading the Lions 17-14. We have 1 race to go. What are you thinking? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling nervous.
Nervous?
This is a really close game. It could be anybody's.
That's right. Similar to the last match that we saw. I would not be surprised if one of these teams, well, the Lions, throw their bonus flag here. We haven't seen a bonus flag. For anybody just joining us, the bonus flag will give 1 extra point.
We did actually see a bonus flag for Cardona in the ringer point for the muscle-ups.
I apologize. Are you sure of that?
Or I apologize.
No, they did. Cardona did the rope climbs
Uh-huh.
and lost the ringer point. They didn't have muscle ups in that. It was the rope climbs, right?
Right, the rope climb. But there was a bonus flag.
Was there? I did not see it.
I believe.
Okay. All right. So in any event, you're joining us,
wrong.
folks.
I'm sorry.
No. We have the sprint relay. Let's bring up those graphics and talk about what we have going on with this race. Quick rules, just to go over those. Players may substitute at any time except after performing the final repetition of a given element. Now, after performing that final rep, they must go to the start zone with a 4-point touch, both hands, both feet, and then sprint to the finish line to complete that element. Now, both teams have to use 4 males and 4 females. All right, and looking at the movements for this sprint relay. Quadrant number 1, 150-pound D-ball over yoke. Doesn't matter who does it, but it's 150 pounds, male or female, and the bar is 45 inches high, 6 repetitions. Then 2 short rope climbs. The rope starts at 8 feet. No legs to get to the top. You have to go from 8 to 15 feet, 2 reps. Then 4 toes to ring to back uprise. Moving on from there to a 150-pound D-ball carry. They will take that to quadrant number 3, back to the start, and then through the finish. From there, deck to pistol over a 6-inch pull. That's essentially a burpee into a pistol, jumping over a pole from that pistol squat. 9 reps in quadrant number 2 for that movement. Then in quadrant number 3, we have 9 kettlebell squat snatches at 53 pounds. And then finally, the last 2 elements, 6 snatches at 200 pounds, and wrapping things up with 2 clean and jerks at 200 pounds as well. Now, as you can see on the right side of the screen there, as it fades out, we had the element values. You can kind of tell the difference on the difficulty level. Some things are quite simple, that they'll get a 1. The back to uprise, that's going to get a 3. For every rep that you complete, you get those points for that element score added on to your impact score overall.
And if I may say something, Joe, really quick, I deeply apologize because there was no bonus flag.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, so like we were saying, we haven't seen a bonus flag from either team, you know? So with that, I'm still surprised we haven't seen one. They're about to start this sprint relay in less than a minute, it seems. We haven't seen a flag come out. Now, if the Lions, with the score that you're seeing on your screen, this race is already worth 3 points. So tying this match means, to me, if I'm a coach or an owner, this means nothing. Why throw it to a tie? Let's get if the Aces win this race, it's over anyways. So go for the 4 points and put some trust in your team. But
definitely.
We've got 45 seconds, and it doesn't look like that flag's going to hit the ground. So that being said, we're about to see what happens here. And now I'm being notified the Lions did throw that bonus flag, just like we were talking about. So I'm glad that the coaches and owners are on the same team, on the same page. So this will be worth 4 points. Similar to the first match of the day, the winner of this race will win this match. Lions, Aces, 17-14. Lions trail by 3, and here we go. 10 seconds to the final race, our sprint relay. All right, so out on the floor for Damati for the Aces. Has a little fumble there. Mario Santaella. He just picked up an extra rep. He's tagging in Macarelli. Macarelli finishing things up as we talked about. 4 points of contact. She's sprinting across. Now we've got Eric Cardona with these rope climbs. This is an 8-foot rope. As you can see, it starts at 8 feet. You have to jump to grab it and then get yourself up to the top. For the Aces, that's McNeil McNeil wrapping up those rope climbs. Now, Emmy Guerra. She's out on the grid. She's got 4 toe to ring to back uprise, one of the more difficult movements in the grid. David Blatt over on the other side with the aces. Also one of the top bodyweight specialists for his team. Trying to play catch up. He did cut back a little time. Guerra sprinting through the finish. Blatt not far behind her. Now for the Lions, Pybus with that 150-pound ball, sprinting, handing it off to Austin Lavalley.
Oh, a fumble from the Aces.
And the Aces are fumbling. They have essentially opened up the door for the Lions.
Oh, that has cost them sometimes. And we're over here with the Lions with Laura Sanchez in her peachy athletic shorts doing those pistol stick jump overs.
Yes, she's one of the top athletes in the grid as well. Players. All right, now that on our screen right now is Megan Medeiros for the Aces. She's got 2 reps remaining for those deck to pistol overs. Lara Sanchez is running through the finish line, and now Medina out on the ground. These are hang squat snatches with a 53-pound kettlebell. Lacey Boyd going rep for rep with Medina. They are behind by just a few repetitions. Can they catch up? Medina wasn't looking, Jamie Gold, coach, looking a little upset because Medina finished his element and they may have needed him later on. Not sure what happened there. Lacey Boyd now running through the finish. Nate Jansen picking up the bar for the Aces. He's got 6 snatches at 200 pounds. The Lions have Rodriguez just finish up on his. He's sprinting to the finish as Jansen wraps up his final rep of snatches. Mario Santaella headed to the bar. 200-pound clean and jerks. 2 jerks. He's sprinting to the finish.
Taylor Stallings going to complete her clean and jerks now.
And Stallings will finish, but not before Santaella crosses the finish line and unofficially has going to take the match for the Lions. Now, if there are no issues, then we will see that it is 18. We might actually have a tie here. We might have a tie because that bonus was thrown. 4 points are going to go to the Lions, but because the Aces finished under the cap, they do get 1 point. So now it is 18-18. We are gridlock.
Gridlock time. Gridlock is what we call a tie here in the Florida Grid League.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with you. All right, party people, sorry about that hold up. We are gridlocked. So, as you can see on your screen, 18-18. The Lions threw their bonus flag before the sprint relay. They were trailing by 3. The bonus was worth 1 extra point in the sprint relay, so gave them a total of 4 points because they won that race. 1 point was given to the Aces for finishing under the cap. That gives you the 18-18 where we stand now. When we come to gridlock, what we have is we are going to replay the last 4. Okay, so the teams will engage in the tiebreak, which is the last 4 elements of the sprint relay. Now they can use 2 men and 2 women, each of which must complete the full element. There are no substitutions allowed here. So unlike when we ran the sprint before, maybe they do 7 of 8 of the element and then tag out to have somebody complete that. Instead, 2 men, 2 women, assigned to an element. They are going out, they are completing it, 4 points of contact, sprint to the finish. It's only going to be the last 4 stations. So what we're going to see is 9 deck to pistol over that 6-inch pole, 9 kettlebell squat snatches at 53 pounds, 6 snatches at 200 pounds, and 2 clean and jerks at that same 200-pound weight. You know, I'm not really sure. I've not seen this happen before. I know it's not a first in grid, but I wonder how it's going to affect the players that need to hit those heavier movements at the end. I think that's really where it's going to affect the team or make or break the situation. Because now you don't have to send out the person that did your ground to overhead or your kettlebell squat snatches. Whoever did them before doesn't have to do them again. You just have to choose your 4 either least tired or strongest or most capable players to come out here and make it happen.
Yeah, but it is good for both teams because at least they get that extra point for their standings in their conferences as well.
Yeah, it's sitting at 18 points apiece. There won't be much of a differential here today for them. But there was a huge one, you know, in week 1 for the Lions, you know, when we catch the North play at the end of the season on September 16th.
Bueno, yeah, but as far as like in the standings for their own conference, bringing these points into it.
Right, sure. Absolutely. And actually, the first gridlock was in the AS1 tournament in 2020.
Was it really?
Yeah, that was the first one. So we had the AS1 tournament in place because of COVID and lockdowns and all that jazz.
Ah, gridlock.
So now we are gridlocked. Both teams sending some of their players over to the finish line as support. The ones that will not be participating, you can kind of see them on your screen heading to the finish line to support their teammates. And let's see which 4 players.
Oh, it looks like they're not going to be sending Chelsea Sellers for gridlock. Interesting.
No, I mean, there's a 200-pound barbell for 2 different movements. Because it's 2 males, 2 females, I expect both teams to have the ladies doing the 9 deck to pistol over and the 9 kettlebell squat snatches, and the gentlemen doing the snatches and clean and jerks. But let's see what happens. All right, so out on the grid for the Aces, Megan Medeiros and Laura Sanchez for the Lions. Both of these ladies chipping away at 9 deck to pistol over that 6-inch pole. Laura Sanchez and Megan, you can see wearing one of our sponsors' shoes, Innovate. And they are neck and neck. Medeiros just etched out Laura Sanchez by maybe a second. And Lasso out for the Aces. Austin Lavallee on your screen for the Lions. Hand is up for the Aces. They are about a rep ahead of the Lions.
Oh, and a fall for Lavallee on the Lions.
Yep, and Lasso is now sprinting 4 points of contact. He is good. Austin Lavallee trying to catch up. So she is sprinting through the finish. Nate Jansen for the Aces. 6 snatches at 200 pounds. Rodriguez for the Lions. Both these gentlemen making that 200-pound bar look like nothing. 1 rep remaining, so there is still a window of availability for the Lions. Let's see what happens here. Jansen crosses the finish. Rodriguez now through. Santaella versus Stallings. Stallings, she's got 2 reps. Santaella sprinting. Is he going to catch her? Sliding a little bit on that. And Taylor Stallings will run through that finish line. The Aces now unofficially have taken that sprint relay gridlock. That was the last 4 elements. No substitutions. Got a little chest pound out there from Taylor Stallings. A little bit of disappointment with the Lions. You know, they've laid it all out there. They threw the bonus flag at the right time. They held on to it till the right time. They tied it up when they needed to. They did everything they could, you know, but sometimes the chips just don't fall for you the way they should, you know, so.
That's so true, and we knew that the Aces were going to give them such a fight today, and that they did.
Yeah.
Such a good match. Great showing from both teams. Very exciting gridlock.
Yes, and real quick, just to give a quick shout out to all of our sponsors today. If you've seen any of the equipment out on the grid, that is from Valor Fitness, the best equipment. Valor Fitness provides everything that you see. Also, Kion, if you're going to take just one supplement, we highly recommend that it's Kion's Aminos. The one supplement aids in recovery, it boosts energy, and builds lean muscle faster than protein alone with scientifically researched, super clean ingredients. And then finally, of course, Sky Hill USA, best grips on the planet. We will be back at 4 o'clock with our next match, and that is the Tampa Bay Brigade and the Palm Beach Breakers.